It's time to get down to business on TK Business Live, brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association. Now, let's join Tara Dimmick, owner and publisher of TK Business Magazine, as we take a look into the business world of Topeka, Kansas.
Hi, welcome to TK Business Live. It's great to be with you this Sunday, and we have a packed show. So we'll get going here real quick. We've got Dr. Larry Snyder with us. He's going to talk with us about a new venture he's got going on. And Russell Kromminga is joining us to talk about Century Business Technologies and a quick tip. And then Angel Zimmerman and Glenda Washington with Entrepreneurial Minority Business Development out of Go Topeka will be joining us to talk about buying local and what that means for our community. And then we'll have Alicia joining us with Leaping Llamas. So it's a packed show. Can't wait to get started. Thanks for joining us. I have Dr. Larry Snyder with me. He is the president and founder of a new nonprofit. It's called AcCELLorator. I like the cell, yes, capital letters in there. And so, Larry, welcome.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's great to have you on here. And you might also hear, as you listen to Larry, his voice. It always catches me because he's also had a former owner of the University Bird and Small Animal Clinic, but no longer owner. And yes, now an employee.
Yes. The transition happened the 1st of October. Dr. Guernsey, Youngblood, and Dr. Grattan purchased University Animal Clinic. I still work there, but I'm going back to school, getting my PhD, and going to see if we can start taking a different new path. I'll still be doing veterinary medicine, only with a little different tilt to it.
So whenever we talk about stem cells. We talk about what's going on with them, what's happening with what you've been able to do with animals with stem cell. And so tell us about this new nonprofit and what you're doing with STEM AcCELLorator.
Actually, the big problem that's in the use of stem cells, especially autologous stem cells or stem cells from our own body, is who funds the research? What does that look like? Do drug companies necessarily want to fund a lot of research into our own cells? Probably not. So it takes a different source to fund these. So that's what STEM AcCELLorator was founded for. It's a 501c3. It's a nonprofit, so any donations are tax exempt. But it was formed to raise that money. Well, I had gone out and done quite a few presentations to groups on stem cells, and they wanted to take and pay me for doing it or to donate to stem cells, but there wasn't any vehicle to do that. You can't take and give $5 to Kansas State University and apply it to stem cells. There wasn't a vehicle to do that. So hopefully what we're doing with STEM AcCELLorator is to bundle all that, the $5, the $10, the $50 together to where we can come up with some meaningful amounts of money and then actually fund some research projects rather than just donate to the overall effort, to start funding research projects that are presented to our board of directors. We have some really good board of directors on board. I'm one of them. Dr. Mark Weiss is one of the board members from Kansas State University, Dr. Preston Hickman from Wichita, Dr. Roger Bechtel from Eureka, and Miss Erica Kent from Florida, actually are board members. And we review the research and then fund the research projects that look like we can get the most bang for the buck. Of course, we'd like to partner with some of the larger funders if we can, to where make our money possibly go twice or three times as far.
So tell me, why are you so passionate about stem cells?
Actually, we've been doing them since 2010, had an interest in it, and then we started seeing what the stem cells actually did, how they worked. At first, it was arthritis. In 2010, when we started, we did 2 dogs and kind of went out on a limb because we had no experience with it. We had nothing to gauge what the response was going to be, and the response was fantastic. So then it gives you confidence, and you continue doing them. Now we've moved beyond just arthritis. Arthritis is nice to do because the results tend to be very, very predictable, and uniformly positive. We've gone on into treating some kidney disease animals, spinal injury animals, using it pancreatitis, especially chronic pancreatitis in cats, inflammatory bowel disease. Now we're seeing a lot more of the human uses. In fact, Manhattan has the Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center, so they're treating a lot of humans with equally as good a results as what we're seeing in animals. So I try to, if the people like what they see with the animals, and they're having problems, arthritic problems, or problems that possibly we can get them down to Manhattan and see if they can help them down there too.
So this is, your spirit is renewed and you're doing the passion that you want to be doing, I can tell.
Yes.
But you've gone back to school too.
Yes.
And you don't go back to school unless you want to go back to school at this point in time, right? So
at this point, I tell people I spent 7 years in school initially learning veterinary medicine, and then I spent 40 years practicing veterinary medicine, and now I'm going back to school to learn why what I learned and why and the medicine that I practice, why it actually worked.
Wow. So how has school been?
It's been pretty good. I'm just in the first semester, first course, starting into it kind of slow. We'll find out here in another week when there's midterms, and I get back in that. I'm not sure how that's going to look, but I have confidence I'll do okay.
So what's your hope for the future in regards to stem cell, in regards to even the foundation? What do you hope to see, and what do you hope to see as the changes?
Well, certainly the biggest thing, it's kind of stem cells falls into regenerative medicine. It's where we're using the body's own tissue, the body's own cells to heal itself. Stem cells are just one type of cell. They're the ones we use are adipose stem cell. They're from our fat, so they're easily accessible. They're in great numbers, and they're predictable in how they respond. We have not seen any negatives from the use of them, and I don't anticipate to see any negatives. Hopefully in the future we're going to see a lot more, number one, acceptance, the public's acceptance of, yes, they do work. Number two is acceptance by insurance companies, because I think that would be a huge thing, especially for humans. In animals, we can already there are already insurance companies for animals that will pay for stem cell procedures. In humans, we need to see that. I think, to me, stem cells are tomorrow's medicine. They are what we will see. It's going to be equivalent, I think, to the development of antibiotics years ago. This will be the next paradigm shift. It's going to shift over to where we're going to see these cells revolutionize medicine the way that antibiotics did.
Well, it's exciting to know that you are going to be on the front lines with that.
Well, hopefully still be around to see some of it when it gets comes to fruition. Already is beginning to, and I think that we're going to see a lot more great things. Hopefully I can be involved in a lot of them.
So you have all of this going on. You do your veterinary work, and then you're also doing outside things too, where you're going to help children learn about science and the effects of science and get them into that area and some of the STEM work. So talk about this recent event that you guys just did.
We did the STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, and math. It's to expose kids, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, to those courses of study, kind of pique interest in them. So we were in Leavenworth. We did that, I think it was 3 weeks ago. There were about a few over 600 students there. We did with 3 middle schools in Leavenworth. Kansas State University, which I'm a student at now, did 4 different segments. We had 30 to 35 students in each one of them, and kind of rolled through all day. And they had several other presentations from other people. I think there was one on drones, one on hydroponics. They had some other crime scene investigation. Seemed to be really well received by the students there. We're looking to, if other communities want to take and offer the same thing to their kids, we'd really like to see this go ahead and get some more children involved with science, technology, engineering, and math.
Well, I know my kids are right in that age, and I was bummed to miss it. And I think that it's so important for kids to get excited about science and excited about math and excited about technology. I mean, I think they're on the tip of it, right? They know that it's important, and we talk about it a lot, but this really gives them a hands-on experience with it.
They got to see. Luckily, we were close enough to Halloween that we could incorporate some of the. I did one the session that I led was on It's a Bloody Mess, which is essentially was about blood, and then we went on into true vampires, which were the fleas, the ticks, and the mosquitoes that we talked about. So we had a good time with that. It was a good time with the kids. I think they learned a lot. I think I learned a lot. It's a good experience.
That's awesome. Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up, I was thinking, how does someone, you talked about what the STEM Accelerator is, and even this event, but how does somebody connect with you to maybe say, yeah, I do want to help out with this, or I see the value in this? How do they get involved?
Actually, we have our website, which is STEMaccelerator.com, and it's spelled a little different. It's STEM, and it's AcCELLorator, so it's got a cell, so it's kind of has stem cell in the name of it. They can get on there. They can contact me directly through our clinic. It's the easiest one, but probably the easiest is to get on the STEM Accelerator website, and I'll be glad to return any emails or try to get any information that I can to people.
Awesome. Larry, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh,
it was
my
great
pleasure.
To have you.
Thank you.
I have Russell Kromminga joining me again. He's the director of imaging services. I had him last week join me, and he's back here to talk about some of the hot topics in imaging services. And he's with Century Business Technologies. So first of all, talk a little bit about what imaging services are, and then about the hot topics that are.
Okay. Imaging services is basically another phrase for it is backfile conversion, or taking that information and putting it into an electronic content format so it can be used in by some other resource. One of the hot topics that we're running into a lot lately is that we have a lot of businesses that due to expansion and growth, that they're moving and going to a new location, and they find themselves challenged with either a warehouse or a back file room that has file cabinets and lateral files, and sometimes it's shelves with 3-ring binders and rolled up tubes with different types of documents, from blueprints to all of those. And with the changes in technology, I think last week we talked a little bit about accessibility of that information. Now, if they have to access that information, a lot of times it's challenging because they have to remember who did it, who put it away, where did it go, what did they do with it. And then because of the basic paper format of what it's in, sometimes it makes it difficult for them to put it back into the systems that they're using now. So part of the services that we offer is the ability for you to take all of those legacy documents, convert them electronically into data and formats that you can use readily and have them readily accessible, but still maintain the security and the regulatory compliance that you have to do, whether it's in HIPAA compliance for health organizations, if it's Sarbanes-Oxley for financial organizations, anything like that it helps to maintain the integrity of those documents in an electronic format.
Yeah, I was thinking about how my accountant has shared with us and been very proud of becoming paper-free. And so there's just throughout the entire office place, as they remodeled, they decided everything was going to go digital, which was a little disconcerting at first when you think about, well, what about the security of that? But you just addressed that. That's all part of this process.
Yes, and there are regulations that are put in place that says there's a process that goes in that says we have to follow a certain procedure in order to go through that process. We sign off on it. It's all documented. The customer documents to make sure that we follow the regulations that are going in place to make sure they have that security.
That's great. Okay, so if somebody is dealing with that, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of businesses that are listening that have those kinds of issues, and I we have boxes of paperwork that are just stacked on top of each other. Yeah. I would hate to see what would happen is if we would ever have a flood or a fire or something like that would just be destroyed.
Right.
So how do they move forward on that? How do they get a hold of Century Business Technologies?
They can contact us through our website. They can call us at our office in Topeka or in any of our offices across the state. The contact information is there. And one of our imaging specialists actually work with them to sit down and determine some basic fundamentals of what types of data and information it is. What is the retention policy as far as what do the regulations say they have to keep? What can they destroy or get rid of? And then also, what kind of a format are they looking for? One of the things that we see all the time, the first question that comes up is, once you've converted it to an electronic document, what do you need to do with it?
Right.
So a lot of times just that one question is going to determine how it's formatted, how it's indexed, where it has to go, and that often leads to a bigger discussion of what to do with it on the back end. How do you make it accessible? How do you make it tie to other systems that you may already have? So it really opens up a broader discussion.
Yeah, it would be exciting. Imagine, I can only imagine being able to type in a search word and have a document show up that we need, but we would never go through the books.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting when we go through some of these processes is I use a common analogy whenever we talk to people about the way they do filing systems, whether it's manual or electronic. There are only three types of people in an office. There is a front of the file person, there is a back of the file person, and if they're like me, they're a stuffer. Mm-hmm. They open the file, they stuff it in. Okay?
Right.
So the challenge is not in getting it in there. Everybody knows how to get the information in there. The challenge is how does somebody that doesn't know how you filed it get it back out?
Right.
So a lot of times when they're doing these conversion processes, they're looking at how do you create a repository that allows all the information to go in the same way, no matter who puts it in and what method they use to get it in, and how is it indexed and stored so that no matter who needs to go find it can find it quickly and efficiently without any mistakes. They don't have to worry about transposed numbers or mistyped names and file structures, things like that. So it really helps them, and it kind of opens up that discussion of what they're going to do with that document afterwards. And then that way they don't have to go through the same process again later.
Well, it sounds incredible. So if you kind of had that feeling of like, wow, we actually can do this, we can move from having all those files, then you should give Century Business Technologies a call or check out their website and go find out more from them.
Yep. Yeah, we encourage it.
Awesome. Russell, thank you so much for joining me again.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
My name is Ken Daniel, and the name of my company is Midway Wholesale.
What is TIBA? TIBA is advice and support. TIBA is information and education. TIBA is a voice for small business.
It's amazing the changes that we've gotten made in state law to the point where we had a list at one time and it's just about finished.
The Topeka Independent Business Association is strong because of its members. Become a member today by visiting topekatiba.org.
I have Angel Zimmerman joining me with Zimmerman and Zimmerman Law Firm, and Glenda Washington with the Entrepreneurial and Minority Business Development Center out of Go Topeka, and we're talking about shopping local and how important that is. Ladies, tell me a little bit about shopping local.
All right. Well, one of the things that we know about shopping local is that a statistic that we have previously given is that if you spend $100 right here in our community, $68 is going to stay in the community. It doesn't go out to other organizations. So that's one of the most significant things that we can do for our community is to buy local so the money stays within our community. Another thing that is really important about knowing, or a statistic to know about local businesses, is that local businesses hire more than large businesses. And so if you want to have an impact on employment, when you shop local and they're able to grow their employment statistics, you've helped more than helping any large business to grow.
And then the other thing that you really need to know is that small businesses actually do business with other small businesses. So that's a driver within itself. We don't think about that when we talk about shopping local, but they help empower their own industry. So.
They do. It's amazing what small business can do within a community. And we have some great ones here. I mean, you're still shopping. You're still looking for those holiday gifts. The thing that I like the most about the shopping local, and I have a couple things that I really enjoy doing. One, we regularly do kind of like a made in Topeka. So, we're looking for oils and soaps and seasonings and even beer, some of the different breweries around here. And looking towards that gift basket that we can give, especially to family and friends. That's kind of this thoughtful thing that we went around to all these local businesses and we got things that are unique to Topeka. And we really have a lot of that. We have a lot of really cool places. You have to go to them though. And I think it's worth the experience, and you can knock out a ton of your gifts just by buying local.
I walked into a florist yesterday and didn't have purchasing anything on my mind. And I left out of there with a brand new piece. So, florist shops have more than just flowers nowadays. But you can just by walking by or walking in, you can kind of discover some very unique opportunities for gifts this year.
One of the things that I've really enjoyed is going through the Noto district. And as you go from shop to shop, you start seeing things that will speak to a certain person on your shopping list. And when you don't take the time to shop local, I think you just put generic gifts on the list.
Or gift cards.
And
Yes.
it's not something that is personal to that person. I also enjoyed shopping downtown and went into a shop thinking that, yeah, it's local people, but then to see an author who I actually know, and one of her books was in the store, and to be able to purchase that book and know that I was having a direct impact on a family I knew was pretty exciting.
It really is, and there's so many great, unique stores here in Topeka. And you mentioned downtown, you mentioned Noto. We've got that 21st and Bell. That's a great corner for shopping, where you can go from one store to the next store to the next store, and get some coffee at one of the great coffee shops that we have right around them, or one of the restaurants we have.
Then also keep in mind, you can buy gift cards for those as well.
Right.
So a gift card, if you're going to buy a gift card, buy one that's local.
Yeah.
Buy one so that you can kind of infuse some cash within the community.
That's awesome. So we talked about a statistic over on just regarding Small Business Saturday. Obviously it's passed, but will you mention that statistic again? The one
Last year?
Yeah.
So last year, 95 million consumers shopped on Small Business Saturday. This year, Small Business Saturday is November 26th. But last year, small business consumers spent over $16 billion. That was within the United States of America. So we find this happening all over the world now. Small Business Saturday isn't just here in our country; it's across the pond as well. So what I would say to you is, what a great opportunity for you to contribute to what is going on. This movement of supporting small businesses across the country is going on now. What a great opportunity for us to give back to our community.
And I think the thing that I keep thinking about is we've had this conversation internally, obviously with the TK staff, and battling the conversation of, but I like to go shopping online, and so many of these stores do have an online somewhere to go online to go buy those products. So you can't use that excuse anymore.
Yeah.
So don't use it. If you are stuck with the online, fine, do the online, but go local and make that choice to be a local vendor and keep those dollars here.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And another thing that was pretty exciting is to know that we are part of 4,100 neighborhoods that and communities that are participating in the Shop Local movement. So it's always nice to feel like you're being part of a bigger movement.
Yeah,
I think that we're doing some unique things because we're giving publicity to small businesses across the community. So we're doing some unique things. We're putting information out there so you'll know when Small Business Saturday is happening, so that you'd be able to shop local. The key here is shopping local, recycling that dollar, reinvesting in your community, and creating jobs on the local level.
Awesome. Ladies, thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I have Alicia Van Walleghem with me with Leaping Llamas. She is the owner over there. How are you doing, Alicia?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you today?
I'm good. So we had her on to talk a little bit about Small Business Saturday, but I wanted to get a chance to really talk about what the heck is Leaping Llamas. So tell us a little bit about your company.
Leaping Llamas is a shop for local artists to be able to promote their work and sell their pieces to people. And so with that, we do have a Kansas connection for each of our artists. They have to have resided here at some point in their life to really make it that local shop. So everything is made by a Kansan.
Yeah, actually, I've been over. I was over there and I saw some stuff with Megan Rogers, and so several people, like I even knew that, who were doing some great stuff and getting a chance to sell their merchandise over there. So, Leaping Llamas, how did you get that name?
Well, the name, llamas are not from Kansas, but a good friend and I hiked the Inca Trail last year, and that was physically the hardest thing I have ever personally done. And it took a lot of preparation, a lot of training, and a lot of gumption to get it done. And the payout was incredible. So I thought it was a good analogy for business. All that hard work will have a great payout. And along the hike, we just hiked along llamas the entire time. So it makes it even better.
Awesome. So it kind of represents that experience that you had. Which sounds like it was pretty transformational.
It was.
So what the heck made you decide to go hike that trail?
I have always wanted to go to Peru and see Machu Picchu. And then a friend of mine had the same goal. And we're like, why don't we just hike this? Which it's a lot of stairs and very high. And we were in high altitude. But I would not have changed a thing. It was pretty incredible. And then you overlook everything, and it's just mountains and valleys, and it was incredible.
That's great. Okay, so how has been, business ownership is not the easiest thing. People often think, oh, you must have the easy life.
Well, I will say that's not true.
So tell me, how's it been?
It's been wonderful. It's not been easy, but it has not been hard.
What are some of the surprises that you found?
Well, that's a good question. I would say all the background computer time. I knew it would be there, but I feel like I'm always on it. And
yeah, you are. You think it's going to be all about that, getting a chance to be right there with the customer and even the artist, right? Because that's the other side of it. But there's all this other stuff that has to get done.
Yes, the computer time is not, I'm not a techie, so I like to be more hands-on. And so that was a surprise to me and, a good learning curve. So
flip it. What's been the blessing? What's been the best part?
The people. That has been my favorite aspect of this business is you get every type of person through your door and everyone has a story they want to share, and art brings those stories out. And so you find yourself talking and getting to know people all day long.
So talk a little bit, we talked about it last time, but talk a little bit about the classes that you guys have.
So right now we are doing Wednesday night classes for kids and Thursday night for adults. And then in 2017, we're going to be incorporating long-term classes. We have 2 6-week programs for kids, and they will be on a couple different mediums. And then we have 8 to 12 week programs for adults. And so you can really dive in and get to know how that form of art is created. And our goal is to get 10 of those up and going in February.
Oh, that'll be awesome. All right, so you're right in downtown Topeka. So give me the address just so that people can kind of envision where you're at.
We are at 725 South Kansas Avenue. Right. So we are in the middle of downtown.
You are right in the middle of downtown. So how has it been being in downtown with everything going on? I mean, you chose August, which the construction was right at the end.
It was. And to be honest, I did not know that. So that was really happy timing.
You thought you were going into it, huh?
I knew I was going to be at the tail end, but the barricades literally were taken away about 2 weeks before I opened. So
yeah.
It was nice.
So how has downtown been for you?
Downtown's been a wonderful community. There is a lot of great shops already established there and a lot coming in the near future. And the community has been very welcoming. We're a pretty tight-knit group and all are there to have a fun time and for the same cause.
Great. How about the traffic? I mean, as people are thinking about it, I mean, downtown is one of the hot areas right now that if you're a business, you're trying to decide, am I going to go downtown or not? Is it the place that we all hope it will be and is trying to become, and in many ways is become?
Yes.
So tell me about it. Is the traffic good? If you were going to tell a friend the best place to go is downtown, what you'd say?
I would. The traffic has increased steadily since I've opened. And I opened in August, but I started working downtown nights and weekends in June. And so I got to see before the construction was done, there was more traffic than I thought there would be. And after the construction, there's people always milling around. In fact, my doors are open if we have class till 8, sometimes later in the evening. And we have people pop in regularly still.
That's great. That's great. All right. So how can somebody learn more about Leaping Llamas?
Our website has our full list of class schedule, and it is leapingllamas.com.
Awesome. Alicia, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. All
right. Go visit her. Go visit Alicia over at Leaping Llamas down in downtown Topeka. Thanks so much for joining me today on TK Business Live. I hope you have a great week.
Thanks for joining Tara and her guests on TK Business Live. Join us again next Sunday at 11:30 to hear more from our community business leaders, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in the landscape of how business is progressively moving forward in Topeka. TK Business Live is brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association.